It's real quiet. Not the nuts in it. But
It looks suspicious.
we're live. I'll save it for later. Perfect.
Remind me to tell you about the Cody Johnson special later. The Cody Johnson show.
Okay. Oh my God, you really did mix everybody up, didn't you?
Yeah. Tried to,
Everybody got a new perspective on the room.
tried to. I'm gonna go ahead and have the kids come in. That's before you start a little bit. I'll have them come on in.
Something before I start.
About a minute before. So they're in there when you're ready.
59.
It's just like, how much before?
Now it feels like the time.
Right done it. I went out and pulled them on, pulled them before I come on in, but you can, but I'm just
Took away my thunder.
have to do whatever you want there.
Hi, guys.
When you're ready, start it just a little bit. All right?
About 1 minute.
She had some family. Welcome. She's gonna turn it over to you all. Okay?
Come on over. All right, it's 7 o'clock, so we'll get this meeting started. And board, I think we're in for a big treat because I see Mrs. Q and I see these cute Ruth Clark students back here. So parents, make sure you come in as close as you want to get some pictures. And why don't you guys take it away, Mark?
It's right over here.
Here. Okay, you guys ready?
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm gonna be an actual surgeon. I'm gonna be an archaeology. I'm gonna be a teacher or a pilot. I'm gonna start my own company. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be a writer or a soldier. I'm gonna be in sociology. I'm gonna be a writer or a plumber. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be so many choices. So many choices. So many choices. So many. I'm gonna be anything. I'm gonna be anything.
Students? Yes, okay, these are all fifth grade from Miss Shahan and Miss Leaper's class. We can start on the end.
Hi, my name is Abby. Hi, my name is Carly. My name is Aubrey and this is Charlotte. Hi, my name is Camden. Hi, my name is Carly. Hi, my name is Nevaeh. Hi, I'm Isaac. Hi, I'm Quinn. Hello, I'm Calix. Hi, I'm Owen. Hi, I'm Aaliyah.
Thank you for being here. Great job. Sounded wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. That was great. Sounded great. Parents, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, it's good for a show.
Yeah, it's making me grin so hard.
I know.
Adorable. Very much so. Okay, next up is next up is president's announcements. Couple of announcements that I do have is number one, I just wanted to welcome Barb and Tasha to our first regular scheduled meeting. So welcome. We're so glad you're here on the board with us. We have a couple of opening for site council as well as the district crisis team. I do know that for Oakville, we had an opening for Oakville. Greg Fenster did say that he would take that opening for Oakville. That leaves both Prairie and Hazel West. Prairie they meet at 7:45 a.m. They have 2 meetings left, which would be February 8th and April 11th. HW meets at 6 p.m. on February 21st and April 24th. Is there one that works better with either of your schedules?
I would miss one. I could do the Ruth Clark.
Hazel West or Prairie?
Oh, Haysville West,
Hazel West?
but I would miss one.
You'd miss one? Okay, the one at 6 p.m.?
The one on the 8th. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Prairie meets on February 8th and April 1st April 11th at 7:45 a.m.
And I would miss the one.
Okay, but the 7:45 a.m. works for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Tasha, would HW work for you then? Perfect. Okay, so Barb will take Prairie and Tasha will take Hazel West. We also have district crisis team that has an opening as well for one of our members. There are 2 remaining dates this year, which would be January 24th and April 10th. They do meet in the morning from 10 to 11 a.m., which I know is kind of hard with some work schedules. I'm certainly available to take it. If there's no one who wants it, I'm available during that time. I can make it work. If not,
I know that I cannot do this Wednesday,
okay,
but I'm more than willing to go in April if you need me to.
the April 10th.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Do we tag team it? You just want to put me down? Okay. Let's tag team it. I'll do the first meeting, Tasha will do the second, and then we can reevaluate too next year. And see if anybody else wants to pick it up or if one of us want to take it over. Okay, I believe that's all the president announcements I have. So we'll move to 1.4 superintendent's
All right,
announcements.
thank you. Welcome to you as well as board president and Kelly as board vice president. We're excited to work with you, and Barb and Tasha, welcome to the board. We're excited that you're joining us.
Thank you.
Few things this month I have to share with the board. First of all, January is Board Appreciation Month. And we would like to begin by reading a proclamation presented by the governor. And it states, proclamation by the governor, state of Kansas, to the people of Kansas, greetings. Whereas the mission of public schools is to meet the diverse educational needs of all children and prepare them for future success. And whereas the Kansas Constitution entrusts locally elected school boards with the maintenance, development, and operation of Kansas public school system. And whereas local school board members are accountable to their communities for accomplishing the mission of public education in Kansas. And whereas Kansas Public School Board members advocate for our communities, our children, and our public schools. And whereas the members of Kansas Public School Boards of Education are committed to providing an excellent education for each child, for every child in each community. And whereas locally election school board members devote countless hours to the governance of public education system and success of Kansas children. Now, therefore, I, Laura Kelly, Governor of the state of Kansas, do hereby proclaim January 2024 as School Board Recognition Month. And on behalf of the proclamation and the students, staff, families, community members of Haysville, we want to thank each one of you for your service to our community and what I believe is one of the highest levels of public service you can do, and that is serving on a school board. As you know, it's not a paid position, and you make decisions that impact our children, our staff, and our community. And I want to thank each one of you for all that you do. I'd also like to recognize you each have packets that were given to you by our students, and our principals coordinated those packets of thank you cards. I hope you enjoy those. They're a lot of fun, and I think you will find some of them very humorous. That's great. Tonight's snacks that you see over here on the table were presented and offered tonight by Diane Smith and her students in the FACS class at HMS. We want to thank Ms. Smith for her work and her students' work on preparing those wonderful snacks for us tonight. Thank you. And I want to thank Adia for organizing all of the board appreciation and recognition for tonight. She does a great job with that. And again, just thank you for all that you do for our community. We very much appreciate you. Next up, I'm going to turn it over to Jillian Macias to recognize a lot of people who are doing great things in our district.
Yes. We have quite a few 2-6 Wonderful Awards tonight. So I want to start with Matthew Terrasage. I apologize if I am mispronouncing it. Come on up, Matthew. And Matthew was nominated by Melinda Goff and Vanessa Demars. Yeah, if you ladies want to stand up here with us. I'll read it for you guys. Matthew is a custodian at Prairie Elementary. He is a hard worker. He helps where he is needed and goes above and beyond when it comes to his job. He is reliable and can always be counted on. Thank you, Matthew, for all you do for our district. We appreciate it. Oh, yeah. I'll give this to you and let all three of you step to the side if you'd like to take a picture. Congratulations, Matthew. And while they take a picture, if I could have Amy Walker come up. She was nominated by Dawn and Brenda Gamble, if they could join her. Dawn and Brenda. Amy is a para at Haysville West Middle School, and she has been there for many years. Dawn says they both actually nominated her. So I have two statements. Dawn stated her devotion and hard work with the students that need extra support is unmatched. Not only does she work hard to help them academically, but she also engages in CKH and forms relationships with students that allow them to trust her when they need help. She spends her entire day working with students that need the most help, and she manages to balance being helpful with also empowering and encouraging these students to work hard for themselves. I guarantee that there are as many teachers at HW that will tell you their students are more successful and their classes run better because Amy is in them. And Brenda Gamble also put forth a nomination. And she stated, I've been so fortunate to have Amy Walker in my 8th grade math class as a para for several years now. Not very many paras are comfortable helping an 8th grade math classroom. Amy is not only comfortable, she is great at it. She knows how to help without being a disruption. The kids love working with her. She has high expectations academically and behaviorally. She's happy to help students and she does not enable them, which is so important. She always has a smile and a great attitude. My tier 2 math classes would not run nearly as smooth without her help. Thank you, Amy. Thank you for all you do.
Yes, I would, yes.
And if all 3 of you and Groot could join us for a picture over here. All right. Next up, while they take a picture, we have Kevin Logan, and he was nominated by Angela Luna. Is Angela with us today? Yeah. Okay, you coming up on? Okay, all right. Kevin is a bus driver for our district. Kevin drives a special education bus and is always so sweet to the students. He is not only the driver who I have seen hold an umbrella over the students when he is getting them off the lift, but he goes above and beyond for the students. Thank you, Kevin, for all you do for the district. If you'll flip over here, we can, thank you, Justin. Our next set of nominations will come in groups. So we, as you know, have had many snow days come up. And so we are acknowledging tonight several people from our custodial department, maintenance department, and transportation department. So if we could have all those people come in and just kind of crowd around us. So as they file in, the district would like to recognize several custodial, maintenance, and transportation employees for all they have done over the past several weeks to ensure our buildings are heated during this cold weather and our parking lots and sidewalks are safe for the students and staff. These staff have spent countless hours in the freezing cold, mind you, to ensure that our students and offices are up and running. Thank you for all you have done. BJ, I'm going to have BJ read through the names as we hand out the certificates.
All right, first we have the Tears Donovan,
Come on in.
Melinda. Matt, I don't think Matt was here. Brianna. Saw you over there. Cody. And Carissa. Logan's not here. Sean McKinley. Jason Downing. Patrick Riggle. Alan Barton. Grant Stranathan. And then for transportation, we have Carol, Sarah, and Shelley. That's everybody that's here.
All right, I'm gonna take your picture outside, guys. but
Before
thank
you go,
In the rain?
And before we end, we do want to recognize the leaders of these districts because they also have done a lot. So Justin Bloomer. And you know, they all told me, do not recognize me. The recognition goes to my staff, but you all have done an exceptional job as well. And we want to recognize you. Freddie, we'll give him his in a minute. I have him busy over here. And BJ.
Thank you.
So thank you, Mr. Hirsch. Do you
yes, ladies and gentlemen, before you leave, on behalf of the district, we cannot thank you enough for what you do every day without bad weather. Then when you throw inclement weather into the situation, whether that's icy sidewalks, snow on the ground, parking lots, trying to get buses ready to drive, that is a monumental task. And it is compounded when you have weather to deal with. And on behalf of the district, I want you to know we cannot do it without you. And we appreciate everything that you do for the district and our students, and all the hard work and time and effort you put in to ensure we are able to have school when we return from a snow day, or when it's bad weather, we're able to come in a safe environment. So thank you for all that you do. We greatly appreciate you both.
And I think Adia is going to have all of you go into the hall area for a group picture. Thank you all. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Jillian. Few other announcements, if I may. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Mackenzie Farber. Mackenzie is a third grade teacher at Prairie Elementary School. And as you recall, back in the fall, she was nominated for the Kansas Horizon Award, which recognizes 32 teachers across Kansas in their second year of the profession. Every district can nominate one elementary and one secondary teacher, and they choose 32 for the state. And Mackenzie was chosen to represent Haysville. So want to congratulate Mackenzie for being recognized with the Kansas Horizon Award. That's really, really exciting and great for our district. So congratulations, Mackenzie. Also, I have to share some good news about a couple of people here. Craig Ryan and Jillian Macias were both recognized recently by the Wichita Business Journal. Craig as one of the 2024 CFO honorees for the area. And Jillian, we found out Friday, is being recognized as one of the HR professionals for the Wichita area by the Wichita Business Journal. So congratulations to Craig and Jillian for their work. Yeah. Next, I want to remind the board, we have a Stuco breakfast the 13th of February at 7 a.m. And that will be at campus. If you're not sure, if you come into the main office, we'll make sure we get you to the room for breakfast. It's a great opportunity to sit down with our Stuco students, staff, have breakfast, and just get a chance to visit. I'm excited to have that. Then I also want to let the board know, per board policy LED, we are required to inform you anytime we have an activity on a Wednesday night. And because of inclement weather, we have two coming up. One is on January 31st, HMS Scholar Bowl. They, I believe, are going to El Dorado, if I remember correctly. And then on February 7th, campus will be hosting wrestling, and that will be their senior night. They have to get that in order to get regionals and meet the deadlines there. So I'm just letting you know that those will be taking place per board policy. So again, I want to thank each one of you for your commitment to our district and our students and all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. 1.5, Campus High School Student Council report. Jeanette. Hi.
I do see some few new faces, so I'm going to go ahead and reintroduce myself. My name is Jeanette Brera. I am the Student Executive Council President at Campus High School, and I am a junior. It was nice seeing you all. Okay. And then I have three things that I will be discussing today. Our first thing, we actually had a meeting today with my sponsor, is our staff appreciation. It's going to take place on our week of conferences, which this year is February 12th through the 14th. Typically, Stuco gives gifts to teachers and janitors as well, and we usually give them in their mailboxes. So typically we go the day before and we stuff them with either like candy, drinks, or snacks, or a nice message telling them we appreciate them meeting with their parents. And last year, a special thing we did is we gave them like personalized keychains that said like, thank you for being amazing, or thank you for inspiring. It's really important that we let our teachers know that we appreciate them, especially during conferences, because it can be very hectic. And it's always an enjoyable event. So yeah. And then the next thing that we will be discussing is our Gem 5K. So it typically takes place in April. We have began selecting our beneficiary, and they have been meeting up and they've been going through applications. It's one of our most popular events. So it's also one of our most important, because it's very important that we come through and we support the beneficiary. And we also have great turnouts, whether it's rain or shine. I know last year it was super duper duper cold and windy. And then the year before it was pretty good weather. So, and then lastly, Mr. Hirsch did great at reminding everybody that we have board breakfast on the 13th, and we're all very excited to meet with you all, especially our new members. And it is in FO1. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Is there any questions?
Yep, thank you.
No? All right. Thank you so much. Take care.
Have a great evening.
Thank you too.
All right, we'll move on to 1.6. Obviously, I have a smaller board tonight. We've talked a lot about good already. Does anybody have anything to add to new and good tonight? No? Okay. 1.7, approve or amend the agenda. I don't believe there's any amend that needs to take place, so just looking for an approval of the consent agenda. I'm sorry, of the agenda. I shouldn't say consent agenda. We're just on it now.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
All right.
Go ahead.
Motion by Tasha, seconded by Kelly. Any discussion? All in favor? Passes. 4-0. Moving on to 2.0, district patron personnel. I don't believe we have anybody that is scheduled to talk to the board tonight. Is there anybody who is in the visitors group that would like to speak to us tonight? Okay. Moving on to 3.0, consent agenda. For a motion on consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion by Kelly and a second by Tasha on consent agenda. Any discussion? All right. Sorry, I'm writing down. All in favor? 4-0 passes. 4.0, treasurer's report.
No major expenditures. All bills have been paid, payroll's been met, so we're in good shape.
Fantastic news. All right, looking for a motion on treasurer's report.
I make a motion, we approve the treasurer's report.
Motion by Tasha.
Second.
I'm gonna give Barb the second there.
Okey doke.
Any discussion on treasurer's report, friends? No? All right, all in favor? 5.0, moving on to reports. Start with Linda Long, Craig Ryan, and our KU friends.
Hello.
Hi.
We are going, David's gonna pull up a PowerPoint for me. I believe you all received our full update PowerPoint. So in the interest of time tonight, we are just gonna go through one of the slides that talks about a really exciting new thing that we have going on. Before I do that though, I have just a couple things I want to do. First of all, you each have a school-based health clinic hoodie in front of you. And that is a gift from a program that KU has funding for with our community health worker position. That position, that role is to help families and students who might need extra resources or things that we can connect them with, bring them into the clinic, help them with services, that sort of thing. These are some extras from that program. However, there is a small string attached. We want each of you to take that hoodie. And because those hoodies are primarily for students and families who we serve in our clinic, we want you to try to find students or families who don't know about us and tell them that they can come to us and get their very own hoodie just like that. We have more for those folks. So please pass the word around. And if they want their very own hoodie, we have those. We would love to have them in our clinic. We would also love to have you guys stop by anytime and see us. If you haven't been to the clinic, which I think most of you have, but if you haven't, stop by and see us. Next up, I want to tell you who all I have with me tonight because I have quite a group here. So I want to make sure I do some introductions. So Aaron Ryan is with KU MPA and he is the money guy. So if you have money questions, he's going to answer those. I don't know what your official title is, but money guy is good enough. And Krista Weaver, she's our nurse practitioner at the clinic. Many of you have met her before. Brooklyn is a campus high school student who's part of our student advisory council. Brooklyn wants to be a plastic surgeon. I'm going to need her very soon. So we're going to get her trained and I'm going to have some nips and tucks done. Dr. Carrie Harris is here. Y'all know her. She is our medical director at the school-based health clinic. Dr. Elizabeth Lewis is another one of our physicians that spends a lot of time here in our clinic and Helps out all of our kiddos. Let's see, I got everybody, right? Everybody that's with us? Okay. So I am going to go over, let's see, where's David? Because it's supposed to. Just push a button. You know, if I touch technology, it all goes downhill.
Just rename him. It's Chris. Money guy.
There we go. That's the one I'm going to talk about.
Okay, just push that one to go forward.
That one to go forward. Okay. So the really exciting thing that we want to highlight from the slide presentation that you all received is a grant that we got. It's a federal grant with a pass through Kansas State Department of Education called the Stronger Connections Grant. I was approached about this grant last summer. I believe Dr. Harris was approached about the same time last summer. That this would be a great opportunity to help with some funding for our school-based health clinic. The purpose of this grant is to provide and enhance support services in school districts. So that is a great fit for what we're doing with the school-based health clinic. So when we heard about it, of course, we all kind of brainstormed, got together, wrote that grant. And luckily we were notified in November that we were funded. The grant was funded for just over $500,000. So that's a lot of money. Very excited about that. We were funded for $545,240. And I want to just quickly talk to you about what that will do for our school-based health clinic. So that money over the next 3 years, the 3-year period ends, I believe, September 30th of 2026, will fund all of our and underinsured students through 2026 without additional district funds. See how we have that bolded and underlined? I know that's important and we're very excited about it. So without additional district funds, it will add additional psychology time and staff to cover reception. I want to talk a little bit more about that one. So that additional psychology time, that was always a goal of mine and all of ours. If you looked at the PowerPoint at all, excuse me, you saw that our #1 visit reason is mental health. So we knew that all along. We knew that that was needed all along. And we need to do more to add to that. So this will add some time to that. But wait, there's more. We have a really good plan to add a lot and get a lot of bang for our buck on that. We are going to partner with KU's Child Psychiatry Fellowship Program. That's very new. And we will have the services of, I think, three child psychiatry fellows. If any of you have tried to get into a child psychiatrist, you know that that is an incredible thing to have 3 right here in Haysville, 3 that will see Haysville students. Incredible thing. So we are so lucky. That's worth the whole 545 right there, but I'm going to keep going. It will also cover an additional part-time staff member to cover our receptionist area in the clinic. We have found that with our current position and our waiting room being the size that it is, there's a lot of privacy things that get kind of mixed together. People can hear other people's names when we're on the phone. We're trying to give information. People are sitting kind of right on top of us. Phones ringing a lot and going to messages. So with this additional part-time position that is fully funded as a part of this grant, all of the funding for that position comes from the grant and it is a grant position. We have found an excellent candidate. And so tonight we're going to, I believe, be asking for your blessing to go forward with that position. Very excited about that. That will also give us time to have a receptionist cover our psychology time, which previously we didn't have. So that's another really needed thing that we have. It will also continue to fund our Breathe program. If you're not aware, Breathe is our specialized program in the summer for our ADHD students. That is, again, for Haysville to have that program is just a real gem. Most districts don't have that. Most districts are referring out to ADHD specialists and having parents wait 6 months, a year, 18 months to get some of those services. We'll have it right here in Haysville, 8 weeks. Great program. So that will cover that funding. We will also add a program for Haysville High students and also their families, the staff there. Their families will benefit too. Staff there as well. Staff support at Haysville High School and some programming for those kids, some CBT, DBT groups, possibly to help them with some things over there. So we're excited also with KU staff to add that with the funding as well. Okay, keep hitting the button, Linda. KU will continue to bring additional funding to the clinic support for more psychology time, for more IC ×2 is a model that we use. Dr. Harris is really the one that knows most about that, but it's wonderful to get to consult with child psychiatrists with other physicians. We really do have a team that if we don't know what to do, or if there's somebody who's stumped by something that's happening here in Haysville, we figure all that out in these meetings. And that's called IC ×2. We'll continue to do that. We will look to add physician time. I love that. The Student Advisory Council that we've just started, that Brooklyn is a part of, and working with those students to help us form the clinic, decorate the clinic. I think at the end of the PowerPoint, you saw a picture of the rooms. That's Chris's brainchild, along with the Student Advisory Council, to brighten those up a little bit and make them a little bit more fun. Nobody likes to go to a boring doctor's office. And additional services, anything else that we can add. So, wow, is this a lot of money? That's going to do a lot of great things. Couldn't be more excited about it, and just want to make sure you're aware of it. Very excited. If you have questions, if they're about money, then Mr. Aaron Ryan will answer those. If they're about services, then Dr. Carrie Harris will answer those. If it's about anything else, I'm happy to answer those.
I have a question for you, Linda. Where will the new hire office out of? Will it still be down here in your open area?
Actually, it's great because the new hire will have the desk that is the receptionist desk inside the waiting room.
Okay.
So we have had to have Angela, my assistant, moving back and forth. So she's there some of the time when she can be, and she's at her desk in my office the other time, kind of going all over the place. So this receptionist position will be based right there in the waiting room the whole time to help develop relationships with the patients and answer the phone and scan things in and do whatever we need to do. The other really important thing about that position is we found out it's really hard to escort patients to the restroom. Because of our setup, there's not a restroom right close to us, but we can't have outside folks walking up and down a school hall. So when somebody needs to give us a sample or just go to the restroom, or a parent needs to go to the restroom, or a sibling does, somebody has to escort them. So then when Angela has to escort them, there's nobody sitting there, the phone's ringing, somebody needs something, somebody has to check out. So this will free up another person to be able to do that. They'll tag team together, and Angela will answer the phones in a little bit more private location. Great. So that stuff is more compliant with privacy. And the receptionist will do the check-ins, check-outs, that kind of stuff.
Awesome. That's what I was wondering.
Yep.
Fantastic. Okay.
Absolutely.
I didn't know if she was going to keep answering the phone. So in just a more private location. Great.
Yes, she is still going to be definitely a part of the clinic. Her job is part-time for the clinic. So that's just going to make it so things are not as much out in the open, and we don't have to leave messages and that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Other questions?
Linda, when we met last week, you shared some data, Dr. shared some data with us about usage.
Yes.
You have that slide available that you could share. I think it's important for our community to see how the program is meeting the needs of our families and students.
You want to talk about it?
Sure, happy to talk about it.
This is really, this is a
It
great
is.
slide, because this is comparing to other pediatric clinics. And so we're just a small time little school-based health clinic, and look at these numbers.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. So our numbers are up from last year, which is great. We want to continue to see growth. Like Linda said, when you compare this to the median clinic, and not every clinic is created equally, of course, so that's why there's a range, but the visits for what would be equivalent to halftime clinic like we have is 2,000 to 2,200, and we're right at 1,800, which I think is actually very remarkable because like Linda pointed out, our number one reason for visits is mental health, and those tend to take a lot more time and are a lot more complex than a typical like ear infection or sore throat visit. But I think the other thing that is cool is when we look at actual unique patients. So like, you know, you may send one kiddo to the clinic and they've maybe seen 30 times over the year or whatever. But when you look at unique patients, our unique patient number is increasing, and we're right in the middle of where we should be for a halftime clinic. So I think that we're hitting the numbers that we want to. It still costs money because we have a high number of underinsured patients. And so that's why this Stronger Connections grant is so awesome, that we can continue to see those kids.
You have that data as well, that shows how your funding is.
Well, somewhere in there. Yep.
That shows which?
The
Shows the funding
circle
graph.
pie charts.
Yeah.
There,
Yeah,
that's
it's
it.
right
Yeah. Yeah. So we're right at, I think the numbers aren't there, but I want to say it was like 56% last year and 59% this year of Medicaid patients. So, which I think is what we expect and what we have kind of consistently been seeing, but obviously the higher the number gets of the orange, the Medicaid. Medicaid reimburses about 30% less than Medicare. And that's really helpful for you all, I know. I wish it was easier for me to understand, but Medicare reimburses 30% less than private insurance. They don't ever compare Medicaid to private insurance directly. They do it through Medicare. So we're 30% less than Medicare, which is 30% less than private payers. And that's even less for primary care and mental health visits as compared to subspecialty care. So you're working from a deficit when you see kids that are on state insurance.
But it's so needed for this community. and We can't thank you enough.
And we love
Because you
seeing the
are
kids.
absolutely filling a
this is-
need in this
yeah.
community.
Well, we are happy to be here, and of course, it's teamwork for sure. So appreciate your guys' support and being part of that. Anything else?
Thank you
Thank
for all
you
that
very
you've
much.
done.
Thank you, guys. Do we need a formal?
Yes, so last month we had brought the part-time receptionist position to you and asked permission to open it. We did state that until you heard the presentation and had an opportunity to ask questions, we would not fill that position. So that position has been opened for the last month. And we have been interviewing applicants. We would like to ask for your permission this evening to go ahead and fill that position. Do you have any questions about the position or the funding of that position?
I'll make a motion to go ahead and allow that position to be filled.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion by Jennifer, second by Tasha. Any questions, discussion board? All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Come see us at the
Thank
clinic.
Thanks for your work.
Thank you.
I said, wear your hoodie.
Yes,
Yes,
wear
I said
wear your
that.
hoodies. Next time I see you at the grocery store, you better be wearing your hoodie. Every Friday,
Email her a selfie of you wearing the hoodie.
please.
Talking to someone.
We have different sizes if they need to exchange.
Yes, we do have different sizes if you do need to exchange. I got those sizes from a very reputable source here. But if we've messed anything up, we can fix it for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. so
Thanks for your
much.
work.
Have a great night. Thanks.
And congratulations on the grant.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to K-5 principals, the impact of the new assistant principals. And that will be given by the administrators.
Awesome. Well, I will get started. I'm Savannah Fox and I am the principal over at Prairie. So this first semester, I have had the privilege of having Amber Dugan in my building, and she has helped us with several different things. We have three main points that we will cover. The first one is our shared responsibilities. The majority of the work that we do is office referral. We had 194 first semester that she helped me with, as well as evaluations. We have 17 certified members, and that doesn't include the people who are evaluated both in the fall and the spring. So some of those are doubles. And then we are able to split our 504s and IEPs, as well as walkthroughs, supervisions, and then various meetings. Our second helpful thing with having an assistant principal in our building is that when principals are out of the building, we have someone to cover us and they can respond to calls on the walkie-talkie when there are escalated students. And it also allows others to concentrate on their job, because if we don't have an assistant principal, it's our school psychologist or our counselor that are being pulled from their responsibilities to help within the building. And lastly, our staff perception, it has been very positive, and they always appreciate having another person in the building to help us respond to the calls, and we are able to respond to calls much quicker.
All right, my name is Tony Haight. I'm the principal at Freenan Elementary, and I share Amber Dugan with Prairie. And she has been a great addition at Freeman as well. When she is in the building, it allows us to focus really well on those IEPs. Sometimes in an IEP meeting, you want that parent perception that you are there and present. And when people pop in and there's phone calls or there's a walkie call and you have to step out, it's sometimes parents, you're not giving them their full attention. So that's been very helpful and parents have appreciated that. And I've been appreciated being able to have the opportunity to really focus. We do share the evaluations. I didn't put down how many we're each doing, but we're sharing those responsibilities and being able to tag team some, questions and conversations. And what do you think about that? I think is really helpful as well. Staff perception, they're more at peace when we have the assistant principal in the building. They really appreciate having them in there. Just having an administrator to walk through, check in, or have someone that they know that they can call if there's a need with a student or even a staff member that's maybe ill or things like that, because it goes beyond just what we do with students. Currently this year, our total number of ODRs is 44. That's down from what we had last year at this point in time. And I think one of the things that we've been able to focus on is taking the time, because there's 2 of us on those days, or when I'm busy doing an IEP meeting and she's working with those students, we can check in on that progress. We can reteach, we can refocus those students. And I think that is going to continue to decline with some long-term success on that reteaching opportunities. And just that checkpoint of I'm seeing you, I'm checking in on you, I'm giving you some affirmations, walking through. So I think that's a long-term effect that we'll see a decline in that. Our instructional coach, along with the school counselors and the school psychologists that she referenced, they took on a lot of responsibilities when we weren't available. And so my instructional coach has noted that, she can focus solely on her responsibilities and her job. So we're not taking her away from those responsibilities with the teachers. And on a side note, she made the statement to me several times that her personal children are involved at the middle school and the high school. And she said this is the first year when she's driving home after all the activities that my car is gone and it's not there. So I appreciate that, because I can focus and get some things done, and I can drive home when the sun is shining instead of when it's dark. So just on a personal note, I've appreciated that as well. Oh yes, I'm doing this. Miss Rogers is not here tonight. She wasn't able to make it. So I told her that I would go over her screen. I know she's equally excited about having Katie in her building. She has assisted and completed 37 of the office discipline referrals in the building and responded to multiple escalations and various things with students that come up on a daily basis. Of the evaluations, she is completing 7 of the 21. She's working on attendance tracking and communicating with parents and providing positive incentives for students to want to be at school and for them to be there. She does help with the building supervision, with guidance and communication. And when Miss Rogers is not available, then she steps in to help with staff and students and any other needs that are there that are needed for support. She has taken on some roles of scheduling special events for students and staff motivation, such as Touch the Truck for fire safety and the Chief's Bus Parade, Ride for Good Attendance. If you want to ask her what that is, you're welcome to. The same thing, their meetings and IEPs can be shared for the administrators, so that there's someone there, and then the attentiveness to a meeting rather than having to be pulled or stepped out in the event of a crisis. So in her building, the staff has also shared that, it's nice for the counselor, instructional coach, and the school psychologist to be able to focus in on the responsibilities that they have and not be pulled on an as needed basis.
I'm Jenny King-Reid. I'm the principal at Nelson Elementary, and I share Katie with Rex. This year we have had 201 office discipline referrals in first semester. We've got 17 certified staff evaluations, and Katie has taken on 4 of those. We're able to divide the IEP into 504 meetings, just like everybody else has said. You can be very attentive, you can be focused on what's going on and not have to worry about getting called out of those meetings. So that's been very helpful. I think one of the big things was making sure that the counselors are allowed to do their job as a counselor. And when you start blending that discipline piece with the counselor, it can kind of ruin some of those relationships that those counselors have worked so hard to build. And so being able to kind of maintain that separation and in an emergency, event, having the counselor take control. So when Katie's there, we're able to utilize us as an admin team, which has been really helpful.
People know that if she's in the building, there's someone else that they can reach out to for a myriad of different things. I know some days when she's not there, I feel like I'm playing whack-a-mole. And, you know, you get a call down the hallway, but you got a kindergartner with you. So that kindergartner is coming down the hallway with you. We're gonna all go to see what's going on. So just being able to kind of keep those separations and doing that. So sometimes we have some little assistance with us, but I much prefer when I get to have people with us. So.
Everything that we have prepared. Do you have any questions?
So Katie and Amber, obviously Amber, I worked with you in the past. So what's your thoughts? How are you guys liking it?
I love it. I love being able to be at the buildings and learn from some pretty awesome principals. It's been pretty rewarding.
It's been awesome to learn from two really great leaders too. Since we're getting our feet wet into the administration world, it's been great to be able to see a couple different ways to lead.
I would echo that we have great teachers in our district. We have great teachers that want to be leaders. Many times they become great leaders, and these two ladies have already demonstrated they have a high ceiling in regards to where they want to be, and I think the opportunity to grow our own is will pay dividends as you look at our leadership team. And I will tell you that I have heard nothing but positive from our principals. And I've heard some very, very interesting information from staff talking about how much of an impact they've made in the building, just having another administrator there if there's an issue. And we've got two excellent ones to start with, and four great, or actually six principals. They're all working together, but that they get a chance to learn under, and appreciate the board's commitment to this. And I think it's exciting for our district and our future, and for future leaders as well.
Or any questions? Thanks for being here, guys, and giving us the update.
Thank you so much.
And read process for paid plan periods.
That makes sense.
I know, I wouldn't be able to.
Like come out like your signature.
It would come out with some other word, I'm sure.
Maybe. Okay, here we go.
Don't touch it.
I'm here tonight to explain paid plan periods, basically what they are and the process on how they come to be. So we'll start with what is a paid plan. A paid plan is when a teacher doesn't have their plan period because they have an extra duty. And that is something that's assigned through the entire year. It's just not a one day or one time occurrence. So the example I have would be Campus High School. Most teachers teach 6 classes a semester. They teach 3 on a white day and 3 on a black day. Then they have seminar every day. And then they have a plan period on a black day and on a white day. Sometimes we ask a teacher to teach 7 periods instead of 6. So that means they would not have their plan period either on their black day or on their white day. And we would pay them for that. In the special ed world, and Angie, tell me if I'm wrong here, it's not always asking the special ed teachers to take on an additional class, but it could be if you're a structured learning teacher, you don't get a plan or a lunch because you are constantly with those students. Or some of our special ed staff members have been asked to share in IEP writing and those types of meetings, which they would do over their plan period. So they don't really get a plan period, they're working over that. So there's a difference between paid plans and then subbing on your plan. So paid plans is something that we set in motion for an entire semester. So you're either going to teach 7 classes a semester, you're going to write these IEPs in lieu of your plan for the semester, and you get paid 1/6 of your salary for that paid plan. And that is per the negotiated agreement. So if you have one of your plans taken away, or both plans, you get paid 1/6 of your salary for that time. If a teacher is asked to sub on their plan, so say, you can't get a substitute, so they've asked a teacher to cover 3 white or a 4th block, then that teacher would get sub pay, which according to the negotiated agreement is $16 per half hour for that extra duty time that they would have just for that period. So it wouldn't be every single day a semester. It would just be as needed and as they can find. So I wanted to stop there just to see if there's any questions between a paid plan period and then subbing on your plan. Yes, Kelly.
So the paid plan, like at campus, if you had one on your black day and one on your white day, you're gonna get. How does that get paid out then?
You would get 1/6 of your salary on the black day and 1/6 of your salary. So basically 1/3 of your salary. Doing fractions.
So if it only happened on the black day or whatever, then it.
Yes. And we usually, for the most part, if a teacher does get paid on their plan, they still have a plan period at campus every other day.
So they're not typically ever having it on both.
Correct. It just depends on the scheduling. Of a middle school teacher, though, they just don't have a plan because middle schools don't have black and white days. So then if they don't have their 7th block plan, then they don't have a plan at all.
One thing to point out is the negotiated agreement, which is the contract obviously between the teachers and the district, dictates that every teacher has a planned period per the contract.
So just to kind of take a look at how much we're spending this year, currently, we pulled our HR and paid plans, and we're spending $393,344 on paid plan periods this year. Now I've broken that down for you so you can see how much we're spending that is special education and how much of it is general education. So you can see that there is a difference. And again, it is just determined by the need at the time. So a question might come up, when do we need to add a teacher? On the general education side, if we have an entire department subbing on their plan and there's 8 to 10 people in the department and we show that much of a need, sometimes it makes more fiscal sense for us to hire a teacher instead of paying all of the teachers on a plan. That way, all of our teachers get a plan period. We have a teacher, we've got all the classes covered. So we may even save money for that. Also, when we have to cut a number of courses because we don't have enough teachers to teach those classes. And we've had to do that this year, which I'll be coming back to you next month to talk a little bit about. So we have teachers that have been put on their plan, but we've also had to cut many, many sections of courses because we don't have enough to offer. And that is pretty big with student interest and enrollment. In the past, there really wasn't a process for paid plan. It was basically just kind of take a look at it and deem if it was possible or not. So we put together a process last year. Dr. Carricker and I did, and you have the copy of the process shared with you. And it's very simple. As far as the general education side for paid plans, they look at the enrollment numbers and how many students are enrolled in classes, how many teachers can teach in that department. We kind of divvy it up by class and then divvy it up by student and look at the class numbers and determine if we can make that work with a paid plan. Now with the new process in place, I'm involved. So I have those meetings with the teacher, or actually it's the department chair and the principal, and we look at it all together and determine how we would structure that schedule and if it needed to be a paid plan. Also, the counseling department chair is involved in those. So it's about, for example, at Campus High School, that's 10 different departments that we meet with. So those are 10 different meetings that we go through and we look at what students are wanting. It also helps me understand what the interest is at campus and where we need to look as we're building different types of curriculum and different course offerings. We also have teachers sometimes that share between buildings. So for example, we have a teacher that's a counselor part-time and then teaches part-time, and they don't have a plan every single day because of their time frame in traveling from building to building. And so that's where a paid plan would come in place for general ed. As far as special ed goes, it's basically an individualized basis. We're looking at how many students we serve, what the needs of those students are, if there's any specific programs that they're in that would require teachers to be with them at all times, if we have enough paras to cover. Angie, stop me if I'm rambling on. And
if we have enough, we have such high caseload sometimes with special education that other teachers will jump in and I'll take an oar and start helping with the IEP writing as well.
You might, Angie, share, for instance, what happens at Tri-City with paid plans.
So, well, Tri-City has students all day long. So, and at the point as far as their instruction, none of them receive a plan time because there are always students and always students' needs. Typically, you may have 4 to 5 staff members with one student, depending on the situation. So that's one case. You know, you talked about our special programs. So every year we request schedules from, we request them from all special education teachers, but specifically for the special programs, we look at their caseload, their teacher schedule, the para schedules, like you had mentioned, and we determine whether or not there's the ability to be able to provide a plan time for them. And if not, then we go ahead and make a proposal for them to receive their plan. Unfortunately, right now we're struggling with staffing. So that's led to additional, as Jen talked about, our caseloads are very high. We have a very high percentage of identified special education students in our district, which typically when you're looking at caseloads, I like to say anything more than 24, 25 is getting incredibly high. I know if some of you listened to the SPED task force, I think a teacher presented on there, he had 16 on his caseload. I would be very happy if our caseloads were 16 students. So then you end up having to give additional caseload students to some teachers that have been willing to give up their plan time to develop those IEPs. And they're looking at 40, 50 kids on their caseload, which is a significant amount of time.
So with this process that's in place, staff would at the special ed level would determine the need and report that to their building principal or supervisor, and then that building principal or supervisor would speak to Angie or whoever the director of special education is, and Angie would make the final call on if there would be a paid plan or not, and then set that up with Jillian and her department. On the general ed side, again, I'm involved in those meetings now, but we would look at the number of students that have requested enrollment, how many courses that we can offer based off of the number of teachers that are teaching in that department. If there's any numbers that can shift to make class sizes bigger or whatnot, to figure out how to have the course offered. And then from there, the principal will talk to me about a paid plan period, and I'll make the final decision as to whether we can move forward with that or not. So that is the process that's in place.
Some of our higher caseloads, especially Angie and your team, they maybe don't have a guided study or a seminar group as well, right? To give them some extra time if they need it. Is that correct?
You're talking about maybe one building? I mean,
maybe.
Yeah, there's been some attempts to try to yeah.
Because I know we're not, there's no ratio situation that's problematic there. So I thought, whether that works at one building or multiple buildings,
So yeah,
if there's a way to make, to give some extra time, especially as we talk about those higher caseloads. Yeah. But I know that's a lot of planning and juggling and all sorts of other things that you guys have to deal with. So.
Can I answer any other questions for you? All right. If you have any that come up afterwards, please don't hesitate to reach out. I believe I'm next on the agenda.
You're next. K3 Summer Elementary Intervention Program.
Yay, let's shift gears a little bit. We currently have a K2 summer intervention program that we run every single year, and we've just recently shifted it to more of a jumpstart. So this year was our first summer, starting it more in July. So we had our summer exploration and enrichment program, which I'll talk to you about in February, in June, and we had our K2 summer intervention jump off in July. So kind of giving you a little bit of some stats here. We had 122 students enrolled last year. They went to school for 19 days, and they had 3 hours of instruction each day. We had 18 certified staff members and 19 classified staff members during our K2 summer intervention. And I also wanted to add that breakfast and lunch are offered at no charge through our school nutrition program through the summer program. So that's really nice. I believe last year K2 was at Rex. So the buses would drop off at HM. They would eat breakfast and then go to Rex, they just walk right over. And then at the end of the day, they'd walk back over to HM, eat lunch, and they would load the buses there. Or if parents were picking them up and drop off, they would just do that at Rex. So it was really nice. Some progress that I wanted to highlight. They work on skills through phonological awareness, which is reading skills that you hear, and then phonics skills that you actually read. They work on a lot of math with counting, with numeration, and with addition and subtraction. And they have all of these skills on a continuum for each child. And we have a instructional coach that teaches, or that is with us with K2, and she runs those interventions and keeps all that data. So she sent me the data today, and it was a spreadsheet with all of these different all of these different areas on tabs. And last summer alone, in those 19 days, we passed 63 phonological awareness skills, which means mastery. They were able to get that to mastery. 114 phonics skills, 221 counting skills. And when I say counting, there's a list, and I can get you that list, but I typed it out. I mean, it's long. Those are counting. 185 numeration skills and 148 addition and subtraction skills, which I just think is amazing in 19 days, what you can do with those students. Now, when we pick for K2, we're not picking the lowest of the low students. We're picking those bubble students that really could benefit from not getting that summer slide in. So having that jump start and getting back into the swing of things with school. So we're picking them based off of their data and their scores. We let them know around conferences in February. We let parents know that they have been selected for that program and give them time to sign up. And we do it off a percentage of enrollment. So each building gets each of the 6 buildings gets a percentage of students. I do the math for them and then let them know how many students that can be involved. What we'd like to do this year, and we're excited about, is we would like to add 3rd grade. 3rd grade, we added a couple, 2 or 3 kids last year that we thought would really benefit, and we saw a good benefit with that. By adding 3rd grade, it would add 3 classroom teachers, or 3 classrooms. Well, so 1 teacher per each, and 1 para for each class. So 3 more teachers and 3 more paras. And then we'd also like to add an ESOL program. So last year we added our kindergarten readiness program, which we have over at Freeman. We added them to the Jumpstart because we thought that students that are receiving those services, it would be really excellent if they could start getting into the swing of things with school prior to school starting. We think the same for our ESOL students. This would be pending enrollment. So we'll see. We've had a shift in our newcomers. So we've had an increased number of newcomers come up. And this would probably be K5 newcomers. It would be elementary. It wouldn't just be limited to K3. And what we're thinking is starting off with just 1 classroom teacher for ESOL and 1 para at that time. So we're excited to kind of expand our program and just see those numbers grow, close those gaps, and get kids ready for school earlier. What questions can I answer for you about K3?
Can you define a newcomer?
A newcomer is somebody, a student that doesn't speak our language, that came like maybe straight from a different country, or has been, I mean, we've had some that have been homeschooled and all they've ever been spoken to is their language, their home language. So those are students that come to us with very, very, very little English. So we have newcomers, and then we have different levels in ESOL that you progress through. So if we don't even have a lot of newcomers, because some of them are secondary as well, we might use level 1s, which would be, there's like 4 levels that you can go through with ESOL, but level 1s would be newcomers that we're starting to see gains, but could really, really benefit from starting that education a little bit sooner in July and getting the year off to a good start.
I'm super excited about an expansion into 3rd grade. So I think that's great. I think that it's needed. I think is a gap there. So seeing us start to fulfill that is great.
And Courtney Debenham has been our summer school administrator, or K2 intervention administrator, since the summer of 2020, and we've seen great things. So I have to give her a shout out because she has done a really good job with this program. She runs it. She's a dream to work with.
So have we had kids that have the same kids that have done this like multiple summers?
We have.
Or is it a different crop of kids every summer?
It depends. It goes a lot off of data and teacher recommendation. I haven't looked to see if we have students that have been in it K too or not, that might be some good data to track. I can definitely look into that, especially since Courtney's been doing it for so long. I'm sure she's got that data and we can check. And I was a Title I teacher. And so that summer slide, I'm very, very particular with, so we could get a kid that would grow leaps and bounds. And then in the summer, they slide. So even they may recommend those kids just knowing, hey, they're here and we just want to keep them here.
Right.
So we're going to go ahead and recommend them again because we know that they're going to slide in the summer.
And with the enrichment program, really, a kid could spend all of June. If the family chose to, all of June, and then pick up again in July, start school with very minimal time lost out of the classroom.
We deliberately put summer exploration and enrichment in June, so they would have the option to have both.
Which is great. I mean, we know learning loss happens, so being able to combat that is fantastic for us.
All right, thank you.
Just the loss
Yeah.
of student, yeah. It's a definite
Question?
issue.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to 6.0 action items. This time I think I'm correct, and this will be Craig Runyon for ASA and not
Our money guy.
Our money guy.
Yeah,
Money guy.
Our money.
money right, and not the other money.
Right, the other. Yeah. I just wanted to report back after speaking with ASA and just share a couple of details that from my workings with them. We discussed the contract to dissolve the contract with ASA is a 60-day termination. So we can terminate that contract anytime we want to with a 60-day notice. The other part of it was any contracts that we currently have out there. We have just a couple of them with a couple of businesses. Those contracts would stay intact and we would still receive 50-50 with ASA until those contracts were completed. So they would still stay on with those two businesses that we have out there until they're completed. But we would no longer be receiving any new business if we were to dissolve the contract at that point.
Roughly how long is a contract typically?
Some of
Or
them,
are all of them different?
some of them can be up to 5-6 years. And they can pay quarterly, they can pay monthly, whatever that is.
Are you asking for those too specific?
Yeah, do you happen to
Do-
know those two specifically? Like that
Yeah, the longest one that's out there is two more
2
years.
more years?
Mhm.
Okay,
So if we chose to dissolve
now.
now, then we're in what month, what year? 2024?
2026 before you could go after that particular advertiser.
You would still get the income from them at 50% at the end of that 2-year period.
Right,
You could go after full amount if you chose to do it.
which some of them, actually, I think, both of those businesses, I think, are already giving on
Additional.
top of.
Yeah, they seem like longtime advertisers with us.
Yes.
I did ask about other districts and what kind of service and business ASA had going on, and they seem to be successful in some districts and not as successful in others. They did say that they recently had a meeting and they were able to they're adding staff. They're adding 2 staff members to their sales team that they explained could help with sales in Haysville. The other part of it is the signage that's out there. They said that the signs would come down. They can either come and get them or our maintenance department could use them and flip them over and use them for scrap. Anything we would want to use them for at that point.
How many signs are we talking?
I don't know exactly how many signs are out there. There's a number of them.
There's 1, 2, 3 on the outside of the gym, no, 4 on the outside of the gym. There are 2 on the inside of the gym, and there are 6 at the stadium, and they're on the fence. And then there is signage on the announcer stand.
It says what?
Oh, they're old.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's
it's old and they're
advertising
not-
maybe old relationships that
Right.
no longer exist.
So
Yeah.
my question
Things
is.
that could
But
be
they would-
updated anyway.
They would
Right,
the
that
2
needs to
of
be-
that which we were still working with,
Which
I would assume.
there are ones that are still up that aren't even contracted with them anymore that still buy from us. So are you saying that the signs are ours to do with what we want?
I mean, I think
So if they're-
basically what they're saying is that, they've had, and he put this in a general term. He said, you can use the signs, you can have your maintenance department use the signs and flip them over and use them if you want to use as a blank surface for something. Basically, we had kind of some creative ability with the signs if we wanted to. But he did say that if we want them to come take them down, they'll come take them down.
Okay. So I guess my question is because some of the ones that are still left up that are not under contract with them still give to us, so I wouldn't want them to come down because they're still giving. Basically, is what I'm
Yes.
asking.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that would be.
Okay, so it's not that they're gonna come get them and take them because they.
Yeah.
Just offering to take them down.
Right.
And if we choose as the board to dissolve this contract, we'll get more detail on what that looks like for taking them down or and anything like that on that side. So. But at this point, I would say, given the output that they've had and kind of the run, and it seems to be kind of trickling off on over the last 5 years, that my recommendation to the board would be probably to dissolve the contract if the booster club is willing to take that on and maybe can do more with it. I think maybe this is a good opportunity to do that. And it sounds like it's what the booster club wants. It's what the high school wants. It seems like it's in line with all of that.
Okay. Any other questions, board?
So I think, just so we're on the same page as far as moving forward, I think in this, the board's role would be to determine, do you want to continue with your partnership? If you decide to dissolve that partnership, then it would be, who does the board wish to take over? If that's the booster club or the high school or however we play that, then at that point, it would be up to that organization to figure out the nuts and bolts of what occurs. I don't think that's a board role. I think it's the role of the board to establish the contract or not. If you choose not to and decide to go in a different route, then you need to decide who you want to oversee that. I will tell you, I don't know that anybody in our office has the time to do it. So at that point, it becomes, do you wish to do it to the booster club, PTOs, whom? And then once that decision's made, I think the board steps out of it and it becomes the role of that group to make those decisions under whatever guidelines the board puts in place.
So you're saying that if it is dissolved tonight, other than what's straggling things that are in there, it would not be tonight necessarily that we would decide the PTOs or the booster club or whatever, or would it be tonight as well?
Well, I think you have a couple of options. One, you have 60 days that you're going to be before the contract's dissolved.
Okay.
So I think that would allow Craig then to come back next month and say, we've dissolved the contract, if that's what the board wishes. Once you've dissolved it, then I think would be Craig's recommendation to the board that campus take that with the booster club. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Then that would be a decision the board can make tonight. Or you can wait till next month. And either way, you're setting out 60 days. I mean, you can't do anything for 60 days. So I think at that point, then you would be able to say, we would like to discuss as a board this further to find out who we want to take that over. Once that decision's made, then I think it becomes that organization's responsibility. You could have it set up to where they report to the board on an annual basis. This is our progress, but I don't think at that point it's the board's role to get into the weeds of what that looks like, if that makes sense, how it functions.
So at this point, we know that the booster club is willing to take on this.
I'm going to defer to Mr. Ryan on that one because he's had the conversations, and Tasha obviously works with the booster clubs on that board, so she also has some insight.
So yes,
I am the vice president of the booster
Okay.
club. So yes, we have a sponsorship plan in place. And Christy Arneson is gonna head up the sponsorship committee. If that's the route that the board chooses to go. And I think that, and I don't know. We work very close with the athletic director, so I don't know if it's something that we want. And maybe smart of us, because, you know, the current Booster Club board may not always be the same, and maybe we need to, as a board, deem that the Booster Club reports to the athletic director. In some, because in years past, they haven't, they've had free reign and it's been very. And we're trying to, so I think that putting a process and having those checks and balances. With all of that would be smart of us.
So it could be that
My
the board,
opinion.
based on what Tasha said, it could be that the board decides to give that to each individual entity. So for instance, campus oversees all campus activities. Haysville West does it for Haysville West. Haysville Middle does it for Middle. Whether that's in conjunction with the Booster Club or not, they can figure all that out. But as a board, I think that's your decision is, do you want to continue your contract? If you do, then I think it's very clear what you do. You continue down the road you are. If you choose not to continue that contract, then I think at that point you come back and Craig can make a recommendation based on further conversation with athletic directors who can then converse with the booster clubs. And also we need to involve, in my opinion, the middle schools in this, if they've not been involved.
Right, it all goes
No,
to.
all of our money goes into the athletic department. So we write a check to them.
To campus, yeah, so the middle schools aren't involved in that, but maybe
But that may
should
be, right.
Maybe that
That
could
may
be
be
a
a-
presented plan, because I do know that HMS PTO had suggested maybe selling banners as a gold, silver, bronze type package to help fundraise for PTO activities through various different sports. So
We could form a committee to study it and bring a recommendation back to the board.
Great.
That's what you guys would like us to do if you decide to dissolve the contract. Mr. Ryan could form a committee with our ADs at the middle school and PTOs or whatever. And then they could bring back a recommendation to the board moving forward with who should oversee this. Because I think Tasha's point is well taken, and that is you have a booster club right now that wants to do it. 5 years from now, you may have one that won't want anything to do with it at all.
Right.
So I think that's a very, very good point. And that, for that reason, I think it probably should come to the schools. And the schools work with whomever that is, the booster club, PTOs,
Well, I
to generate it.
feel like with Jen's idea that if we involve the middle schools and that parent group, that's just gonna bring more income to our athletic department.
Sure.
Yeah.
And,
Top of the bottom.
right, because there's equipment that is shared, track equipment and stuff like that, that's shared between all three schools. And track is your most expensive sport. I mean, it is hands down. And we don't have some of the track equipment that is needed because it's so expensive. You know, so it's something that all three schools could benefit from when we're raising that money.
Sure.
And then you build that community, and then you have those parents that come up and then will help at the high school once
Right.
they get there, like,
Start them, keep them in the
right,
middle and
right,
push them through into high school.
right. So we have a
volunteer-based.
constant,
Mhm.
yeah.
Sure.
And it would just build it even bigger.
Yep, that's a great idea. So first things first, we would have to have a motion and a second if we wanted to dissolve the contract with ASA. From there, then the board can determine if they would like Craig maybe to start a committee to look at how this would work out.
Do you want that in two separate things?
I
Does
think
the
it can be
second
same
even need to
motion.
be a motion?
I don't think the second one needs to be a motion. I think
Okay.
we can just
Just do
instruct.
that.
Yeah. Administration to go.
We
through
can
it.
just put that can be the direction of the board, form a committee and bring a recommendation back to the board.
So I would like to make a motion to go ahead and dissolve our contract with ASA. And to look at options for what is best for us taking that over internally.
Second. Barb, did you second? First,
No.
it's fine.
I didn't hear.
I heard her. say
I'm
first,
loud.
so It's all right.
Barb,
So
you're
I have a
gonna have to be
motion by
loud.
Kelly. I have a second by Barb to dissolve the ASA contract moving forward and to instruct admin to put together a committee to take a look at how we'll handle that internally. Any discussion, Barb? Okay. All in favor? Unanimous vote?
Thank you very much. 6.2, classified staff compensation for snow days for January 5th, 9th, and 16th, still with Mr. Ryan.
Sure. So, excuse me. Classified staff have been compensated in the past. It's been past precedents that when we have snow days that we compensate our classified staff. We have already budgeted for them to work those days, and all the certified staff get paid and all that. So we've in the past paid our classified staff for those days. So we're coming to the board today to ask for action to be taken on the 3 days that we've had so far. And then so that those staff members can be paid and not have to take leave for those days, because otherwise they have to take leave if we don't compensate them. So that's my recommendation to the board, is to pass action to compensate our classified staff.
I'll make a motion to approve the classified staff compensation for the snow days of January 5th, 9th, and 16th.
I'll second.
There's a motion by Jennifer and a second by Kelly. Any questions for it? All in favor? Passes. 7.0 first readings. We have no first readings tonight. 8.0 report items for future agenda item study.
Rex will be doing the flag salute, Campbell's High School dress code review, summer exploration and enrichment is the first read. The HAC agreement regarding baseball fields. 24-25 district calendar proposals, first read. KASB policy updates, first read. Request for additional license positions. And that is a first read. And then in March, we've got one that may come to us in February also. Food Service received the grant, and she may bring that information in February. And then the committee information on the advertising that may come back in February. And then Haysville High School on alternative scheduling. The handbooks will come to you as a first read. 24-25 district calendar proposals for action. Temporary summer help and capital outlay as first read.
We got a full plate. All right, 9.0, there's no executive session tonight. 10.0, I think we're in adjournment, friends.
All right, 8:25.